How can you independently, even before deciding to consult a psychologist, start working on your childhood trauma? Today's video will be about this. Your childhood trauma is your inner child who is still suffering, still crying, and still hopes to receive what she couldn't get in childhood. And today, I will provide you with some very cool techniques for establishing contact with your inner child. This should help you at the beginning of your work. My name is Yulia Latunenko, and for 18 years I have been working as a psychologist individually with couples, and I also help people who have psychosomatic disorders. When I talk to you about childhood traumas, you often ask me what should be done about all this. Of course, childhood trauma. Yes, it cannot be cured in some miraculous way in just one day or in a month. This is something you have lived with for many years, many decades. I know that my audience on the channel is already grown up, and it would be very strange if there were some tools that could completely, qualitatively, and effectively help you with what has accumulated over decades. But today I will tell you about a few psychotherapeutic practices that you can use to ease your condition and also to start doing something in order to establish contact with your inner child. In some book I read this definition: the sunny child, the inner sunny child, and the inner twilight child. This sunny child is the one that gives you energy for life. This is the child that makes you joyful, thanks to which you are capable of some creative activity. This is what brings you satisfaction in life. And you might even feel like you're jumping around like a joyful little child. That's your sunny child. But there is another one that sits in the corner of your soul, crying in a dead end, suffering. And it comes out into your life as the main player in your life when you encounter some stress or have a triggering situation that triggers your childhood trauma. And this is the twilight child. How to work with it. How to establish contact. I have heard many theories that a person can cultivate within themselves an inner mother, father, and there is also an inner child. And with all these figures internally, you need to establish contact. You need to discover this resource within yourself. The maternal resource, which will communicate with your small suffering part of your personality that blocks you, that prevents you from moving forward in life, stops you from doing what you want, and ruins your relationships. Because due to this small suffering inner child, you might attract abusers into your life, psychopaths, narcissists. You might not achieve your goals at all. Not find success in your profession, career, or business because this child acts as a blocker, like your bunker. It sits there, cries, screams, and constantly reminds you of itself. So the first practice. By the way, you can do all the practices I will talk about today in parallel, or take your time and do them gradually. Do one practice, take your time for it in your life. The first practice can be quite long-lasting. then move on to another practice. Or you can do everything together if you are willing to dedicate a lot of time to your inner child. This is a practice about such a doll to my clients who have significant problems. Due to childhood traumas, I recommend doing this practice immediately. I ask my clients to go to a toy store and buy a doll there. A small one. Preferably it should fit in the palm of your hand, and preferably it should be soft. And also, preferably it should have a human appearance. Because some clients bought soft bunnies, puppies, kittens. But for me, it also meant that they didn't feel like a person, a human being. Therefore, their subconscious led them to such a choice. But I still advise focusing on a doll. You should choose it with your heart. That is, you enter a toy store and walk between the aisles and feel which doll your heart responds to. You simply look at each doll of a small size. You can take them in your hands, look into their eyes, hold them close to you. You know, it's like choosing a pet for yourself. Like when I went to buy my cat Lucas. Cats, in principle, are like our inner parts too. We project a lot onto cats. The good things that are in us. And when I went to buy a cat, choosing one cat didn't come to me. He screamed and started to scratch his way out of my hands. But Lucas sat on my palm and purred a little song. I held him close to me and felt with my heart that he was my cat. Just like when you choose a doll in the store, you feel it with your soul, with your heart. After you make this choice, you go home, sit down, and give it a name. It's important that this name is either how you were affectionately called in childhood or how you would have liked to be affectionately called in childhood. Maybe your mother didn't use any affectionate words. Or she did, but it was very rare. And you remember this and name it. If you, for example, are Olya, then let this doll be Olyunichka. Olyunichka. Tanya can be called Tetyanka, Tanyushka. As you wish. You do everything with your heart. After you have named her, you need to realize that now she has appeared in your life, a little child. And now you perform the functions of an inner mother for this inner child. But all of this is actually happening in your life. It's not an internal process, it's happening here right now. You take her, you walk with this doll. Around your apartment, you don't leave her anywhere. Why do I say that she should be small? Because sometimes you'll want to tuck her into your bosom, put her right here, sometimes in a pocket, to place her in a little pocket. When you go to work, you can take her in your handbag. Find a piece of microfiber cloth for her, like a little soft blanket, so you can wrap her in this soft little blanket. Place her in the handbag so she feels comfortable there. That is, your task is to observe your feelings when you take this little doll with you everywhere. You must not leave her because she is small, because she needs your attention, your love. You should go to sleep with her when you eat. Having breakfast, for example, or having dinner or lunch, you sit down, you place her next to you, maybe on the table because she is small, on a chair, she will be under the table. You take care of her, you sit down to eat with her, you talk to her. Yes, Don't tell me this is madness, this is your internal work. That's how it goes. This is your contribution. The process that is very important in our psychotherapy, how we do it, it's an important process when the psychologist completes those things that your mother didn't finish and takes on this function. For some time, for a certain period, until you reach adolescence, the psychologist takes on the role of the mother, but less and less over time. Over time, they nurture you, adding those pieces that were missing in your childhood. That is those needs that you have that have been frustrated since childhood, causing your inner child to suffer. The psychologist addresses. But since you don't have a psychologist, why do I recommend this to my clients? Because we meet once a week, and for 6 days, they have to do something themselves. And so, to constantly remind you that you have an inner child that needs your attention, you can call it inner truths, natural self. You can call it whatever you like. Such an inner little doll of yours. That's why we consider it this way, that each week is a month, the life of your little child. So count it now. That is, if a week is a month of life, then in a month it grows to 4 months of age. Another month, and it's already 8 months old. It's very small, it has just been born. Still, and so on. So you can carry it until approximately about that age. When you consider what might have been the most frightening trauma in your childhood, or there are people who don't remember their childhood at all, so you need to then work with this little one up to the age you don't remember your childhood. Because there is a belief among psychologists that we forget some part of our life, especially from childhood. Some people don't even remember until the teenage period when there are traumatic events. And the psyche works in such a way that it protects you by making you not remember, so that you don't suffer, don't recall these traumatic events. Therefore, such people need to carry this doll and work with it until the age, for example, of 15 years. So you need to count these weeks like this. Well, you understand how it's done. That is, you go to work. If you are an office worker, you place it next to your computer. Your entire doll, watch. Don't go anywhere without it, and even go to the bathroom, take it with you. I had such a client. She was a businesswoman of quite a high level. And she said, I go to the bank and I take this doll with me in my hands. I go, stand in line. Well, I approach the cashier, place this doll on the counter, count the money, fill out the receipt, take the doll, and move on. And I don't care what people think about me. At that time, she was about 44 years old, as I recall. So this is your own business, your work, so you should completely forget about what people think about you, what they will say. Some of my clients even told their surroundings that I am now working with my inner child. So I have this doll, and even some families, close people, helped because they would say, did you take your Olichka, did you take your Natalochka? Come on, look, you forgot. They even reminded them when my clients forgot their little doll, the working doll. You need to be in contact with it all the time while you are walking with this doll. And if you forget, maybe somewhere, if you have any irritation about having to carry it, that's all. You observe yourself and can even keep a little diary where you write down your feelings. Then when you finish this boy work, you will review all your notes and find it very interesting. Understand what your mother actually felt at this or that age when you were under a year old. All that came to you from your mother, you will feel towards this inner child. This is how the field phenomenon works. This is how your subconscious works. It remembers everything. It knows everything. Because it will choose the same attitude towards this little doll as was shown to you. Because you have no other experience. And you don't know anything else except for this path of relationships between a mother and a child. You will copy this, and in this way, you will also gain important information about what was in your childhood. But you still need to complete this work. And at the end of this process, you will feel that more of your self-reflection is directed towards your needs, your feelings. You will understand yourself better, be in contact with yourself. This is a very cool method, and the feedback from my clients about it is very positive. The second method, it differs slightly from the first one. It is not as complex. I started with the complex one, moving towards the simpler one. This involves working with photographs. I suggest, for example, to my clients to find a childhood photograph. It can be a photograph, well, even if they exist, paper. Photographs, the usual kind, not on the computer, not on the phone. But if you have them on your phone, you can print them on a color printer. Print them somewhere in a center, copy center. Find a photograph where you are, well, maybe 3, 4, 5, even up to 8, and even up to 9 years old. Such a range of ages, but you will feel which one you need to choose. Go through them. Also do this slowly. There's no need to rush and take any photograph that you first come across. When you choose this photograph, your own from childhood, remember when it might have been taken, who took it. Maybe, if possible, I will ask my mom under what circumstances this photograph was taken. Who was the photographer? This will provide you with a lot of information for analyzing your life. For example, I had a client who brought me a photograph of himself when he was about 3-4 years old, because, an old one, an old suitcase was open, and he was sitting in this suitcase, and he was looking sideways at the person taking the photo. He asked who took the photo of him. It was his mom. And then we worked with him, and it turned out that in principle his mother treated him like a suitcase with a handle. She would take him and move him, take him and relocate him from one place to another. That is, a mother who was very formal in her approach to her child, not considering his feelings. Our childhood photographs, they are also very informative. You analyze what kind of photograph it was. Outfits, 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 outfits. Why exactly? That background, you analyze that too. Then you look at your facial expression, whether it's sad or happy, what your eyes reflect in the photograph, what feeling, how you are dressed, why you are dressed that way. That is, you analyze all of this. You need to go to the store and choose a beautiful frame for this photograph. The frame is also chosen just like the doll. Through the heart, through the call, exactly, the one that is needed for this photograph. Next, you insert the photograph into this frame, and at home, you find a place for it, for the photograph, so that you can see it very often, to have such access to the photograph. This could be your workspace at the desk, near the computer. It could be your bedside table, or a mirror where you do your makeup. Well, where you are more often, where you find it, and also analyze why you placed it here specifically. And this will also reflect your attitude towards yourself. And as I already mentioned, it will be about your mother's attitude towards you. There have been cases where the photograph was placed in some corner, a corner where it's not visible, where there's no light, none at all. And this is also about how you were treated in your childhood. So analyze all of this. Thank you. Maybe you could later write your realizations and insights in the comments under this video. I would be very interested. And the practice consists of doing something every day. For a month, well, let's say 30 days. For 30 days every morning, you wake up and look into the eyes of this little girl or boy, if you are a man, and say a very simple phrase to her: I love you very much. I will never leave you. You do this every day. Try not to do it formally. Try to take a small pause, well, a minute, and look into the eyes. And still say these words with a feeling of warmth, love. I love you very much. I will never leave you. You can do this in the morning and in the evening, when you wake up and before going to sleep. And you can do it even more often. When you see this photo, when you pass by that same place, you stop for a second, say a word to her. The next month will be more challenging. If you did this formally, the next month will be very difficult. So try to get through the first month, putting energy into your words. You need to do something for this little one. For 30 days, the child you see in the photo, every day you bring her some kind of gift. It could be a pigeon feather that you found in the yard. It could be a candy. It could be a small flower picked somewhere, I don't know, at some club, or, well, I don't know, maybe bought. It could be a nut, an almond, or something else like that, or a small toy that you bought. You should think about what you will give to your little girl today, whose eyes you see every day, as you said, for a whole month. I love you very much. I will never leave you. No. According to the words, action. Because we know that love is also our deeds, our good deeds that we do for the one we love. And the last method, it is not difficult at all, but it also requires your time and a little effort. Really, thank you. So I'm going to recommend to find on YouTube. There are many different meditations for establishing contact, working with the inner child, Choose one where the person has a pleasant voice who will read this meditation. So that it is pleasant for you, there should be some music. You will need to, every day, do this meditation at least once a day. Usually in such meditations, you are asked to lie down comfortably. Close your eyes. Imagine this inner child, small. Pay attention to what her expression is like, how she looks, whether her hair is braided, what dress she is wearing, whether she is sad, what she is doing in general, where she is, in which city she is, what surrounds her. Just enter into this meditation, visualization. Not everyone can do visualization, but if you can, this practice suits you. Then you should approach this girl or boy and say those same words to her. I love you very much. I need you. I will never leave you. You will always be with me. I will protect you. You can take her in your arms, spin her around. Hold her close to your chest, and then imagine that she becomes very, very small, like a pea, and you take her in your palm and place her directly into your heart. Somewhere like that. Imagine a corner of your heart where there is space for this little inner child of yours. And through breathing relaxation, breathe and fill this corner of your heart with a blue glow, with the sense of flowers, with sounds of the middle of birds singing. Well, find something in this spirit now, and you will need to do this practice every day. Also for at least 30 days. In this way, will help you be more attentive to your inner voice, to your inner twilight child who very much needs your love and attention. That is, you now, from the position of a mother, are doing all this that your mother should have done in your childhood, but for some reason did not.